So you're thinking about moving to Excelsior Springs, Missouri? Well, great news. In this video, we're gonna be talking all about Excelsior Springs, Missouri. We're gonna take a look at the map, show you how to get around, what you need to know, where the things are at, so you have a good idea when you get here what's going on. And if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna show you some of the coolest and some of the hottest spots Excelsior Springs has to offer. And we're gonna get started right now. Hey, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Kansas City and places like Excelsior Springs, Missouri, then click subscribe, hit that little bell for notifications so you can be the first to know of the current market here in the KC metro area. My name is Zach Morton. My business partner Max Jones, the Mojo Real Estate team, and I have been helping people move to Kansas City for over 20 years. We absolutely love it, but you don't have to take our words for it. See what our clients have to say with over 600 5-star Google reviews from people just like you. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, you can pick up the phone, give us a call, shoot us a text, drop us an email, even schedule a Zoom call so we can have a conversation with you about your goals and help you with that seamless transition into your new market. So today we are talking about Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Let's dive into the map here and start popping around a little bit. So as you can see, we got it right here centered on the map, Excelsior Springs. This is about 10 square miles. So a pretty small town on the outskirts of Kansas City. As I zoom out, you can probably tell we are about 30 miles from Kansas City city center. So pretty good jaunt, kind of outside. You can kind of just tell by the colors here, the white's more heavily populated. Then you go through this little green area before you get to Excelsior. And to point that out, let me get into the kind of the highways. You know, if you're just coming here for the first time, there is a Kansas City, Kansas. There is a Kansas City, Missouri. So it's just good to get your bearings and know what's going on. So the Kansas City is divided into both state lines by this river that runs right here. It runs kind of east to west, and about the center of the city, the state line just drops straight south. The river keeps on going, but the state line goes south. So anything on this side is going to be your Kansas, and anything over here puts you in Missouri. And Missouri's better. I'm just kidding. But it's a constant debate, so it's always fun to when you're at concerts downtown, kind of right on the line, and there's big performers coming, you know, into our big arenas, and they're like, "Hello, Kansas," or "Hello, Missouri." Half the time they get it wrong, and half the crowd will boo, and half the crowd will cheer. And they're like, "Well, what do we do?" And it's like, there's both, you know, Kansas City's both sides. This isn't just Kansas and Missouri people. So always get a hoot out of that. So that's how that is laid out. And then just quickly, there is a north of the river and south of the river, that term that we use, and the locals will use if you're out here. And that's essentially the same river that marked the state line. It also goes east all the way across the state of Missouri. So anybody up here is considered north of the river, Excelsior Springs being part of that. And anybody down here is south of the river. So just some common lingo that you are going to hear when you're in Kansas City or you land for the first time. Our airport, it's located just south of Platte City over in this area. So if you're flying in, it's an international airport, it's brand new. If you're flying in, that's where you're going to start. If you're driving in, you know, our major highway systems that are going to bring you in are I-29 that turns into 71. That runs north and south, and then I-70, which cuts clean across the state, goes coast to coast. And that is going to be, if you're coming from the east or the west, you're going to be popping in on that road. And then I-35 divides the city again, and that takes you up north and down south. So if you're coming from Chicago, you might be coming down on that. And then just while we're talking about roads and how to get around, 435 is a highway that loops all the way around the city. It's an easy way to circumvent city traffic, get you anywhere you need to go without actually having to dive into the city. So that's good to know too, and that'll get you, you know, as you're heading out toward Excelsior Springs, primarily you're going to be on this I-35 coming out of the city, or you might use, if you're coming from the airport, 435 to get around and hop in. But now we've got that kind of established, let's zoom in here a little bit, get a little closer to Excelsior. So you can see that the closest big city that's kind of still connected, or suburb of Kansas City, is Liberty. So Liberty is where you're going to have all your big box stores. You're going to have your hospitals. There's a great hospital system here. So that's going to be kind of your hub for any major shopping that you're going to need to do. There is all your basics in Excelsior, but it is that smaller town. So you are going to find yourself, for any of that big shopping stuff, zipping down the road to Liberty right there. So it's about a 10-minute drive, no big deal. Coming out of Excelsior, this road right here, 69, it's a highway. You've got 2 lanes on one side divided by a median with 2 lanes on the other. Easy driving. There's maybe 2 stoplights, not heavily trafficked, maybe during rush hour a little bit, but for the most part, it's an easy drive. You've got rolling hills, and it's kind of pretty because you've got farmland on both sides. You will see like a lumber company, and there's a couple trucking companies that'll be over here on the side. Excelsior has a lot of that trucking, transportation, distributions as far as if you're looking for employment. So there might be a lot of opportunities there, kind of that blue collar stuff. A lot of warehouse, there's a cabinet maker, just kind of the, they've got a lot of space there. It's not heavily populated. It's got great highway access. So, and the taxes are gonna be a little cheaper and everything that goes along with that. So just something to think about. Those kind of businesses kind of find this as a niche town. It's close to the city still, but you can get away, build what you need on a decent sized amount of land. You still have a pretty good population to pull from for employees, and it's just kind of a little sweet spot. So that's that. That's how you get there primarily. Another kind of hot spot that you'll find people talking about when we're talking about Excelsior is Kearney. So you'll hear Liberty's close, Kearney's close, and then Smithville, which is kind of another small town. We've done vlogs and map videos and more information on all 3 of these areas. So if living more rural kind of excites you, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at our Kearney vlog, our Smithville vlog, and even if you want to be a little close to the city but kind of like the idea of what's going on in those, check out Liberty too, because it's a happening place there. But Excelsior is what we're talking about today. So let me clean this up. We'll just kind of keep zooming in, enhance on Excelsior Springs. And as you can see, like I said, it's not a very large town at all. We're 10 square miles, or well, actually 10.86, and our population's 10,500. So fairly sparsely populated. There is some new construction here. In fact, if you look at our vlog on Excelsior, we go take a look at some new construction, and then there's houses all the way up. I think the record sale in the last 12 months was like 1.7 million. And we'll get into that a little bit, what you can find across the board, because there's a lot of acreage opportunities out here. As you go rural, that's something that's in your head, like, oh, I bet there's land opportunities, and there certainly is. But this is kind of the main, we've just got a highway running through town this way, and then one that goes up north. And we'll flip to this view for a second, just so you can see. You can see that it's pretty populated right around here. You can see, we've got some houses and subdivisions, and some little strip malls pop up in between. The old downtown areas right here, so over 100-year-old buildings with a little river bottom, and then it goes out east and just turns into way more acreage. So that's kind of, we'll go back to this now, but that's kind of how it's laid out. You can kind of see the streets in there too. A lot of this, I will tell you that Excelsior Springs kind of has that mixed review. It's always kind of has that not the sweetest spot in the world, and a lot of that I think comes from, of course, they don't have the best school ratings. They're not bad. They're in the B's, rated at 6s to 7s and 8s, and B to B minus. But when you compare that to Kearney right next door, which has the A+ schools, Liberty just to the south, or we're just talking 10 minutes in each direction, A+ schools as well, it kind of gets that bad rap. And as you're driving down this main road right here, coming through town, you go through downtown, which this little windy road getting you down by the Elms and all that, it's kind of a bear for traffic as well. We talked about that in our pros and cons, but as you keep heading out east, you'll see pockets of dilapidated homes, smaller, lower price points, and it's not very appealing visually. So you're driving by, and it's it's the main road through town, so that's what you see, and that's what people associate with Excelsior a lot of times as they're cruising through town. It's these little pockets of dilapidated neighborhoods. So I wouldn't just focus all on that. That's kind of why, in fact, there used to be high crime. I don't know why it was, but in the last 20 years, the crime rate has just been dropping and dropping and dropping in Excelsior. And it's kind of a cool spot right now. And I think it's kind of a sleeper cell for a spot that there's going to be some great opportunities to pick up acreage, especially if you're not concerned with school districts, if you're not raising kids out there. And even if you are, B is not that bad. And I think it's continuing to improve. From a lot of the reviews that I read, about locals that are living out there and kind of how they feel about it. I mean, there's still, most of the reviews landed in that good. There weren't no like 5-star communities, but like 4. Like, you know, they really like their area. It's nice, small town, everybody's friendly. And it just has that kick back, relax. You know, everybody says hi, everybody opens the door. In fact, when I was just out there walking, doing the vlog, I had people stopping me left and right just to ask me what I was doing, invite me into their shops. And I don't get that in every place that I go to when I'm doing these. So it's kind of a unique experience. I ended up at a spot downtown here by the Elms. There's the, we'll talk about that. This is kind of a historic downtown district, which is kind of cool. If you're coming to Excelsior Springs, you're definitely going to stop here, but they have the Hall of Waters. This is what put Excelsior on the map, literally, as people found that there were some healing properties all the way back to the settler days. In these springs, people were super sick, and then they would start drinking this water, and somebody got, you know, healed, and the word spread, and the next thing you know, they come out here. And over time, just right down here on the main street, which is called Broadway in the old downtown, they found over 40 springs, different mineral springs, which this ended up being one of the hubs, and it made the Guinness Book of World Records for the most mineral springs located in one spot in the world. So kind of cool. So with that, you know, they just built up spa centers, you know, 100 years ago, spa centers. And there's images of people coming out there for treatments for like the weekend and soaking in these tubs and drinking this water. You actually would go meet with a doctor, and they would prescribe you like drink a glass of this the first hour, hour 2, drink 2 glasses of this kind of water. And there's actually a water bar, the world's largest water bar. It's called Hall of Waters, and on our vlog we actually stop in there, and it's haunted now too, so I get a little ghost tour. I went on a private tour with her, so there's some images of that. But you know, this isn't more real estate and lifestyle geared, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But it is what put Excelsior on the map, so there is a lot of springs. It's part of the town's history. And as you're walking through there, the locals will love to grab you, especially when you're downtown, and just explain that to you and tell you, you know, this and that. And like the old barber shop, he pulled me in and said, hey, this used to be the Greyhound bus stop. So just learned a lot down there. And there is an exceptional hotel that everybody in Kansas City knows of called the Elms, which is right here across the street. This place is massive. Presidents have stayed there. Actually, Harry S. Truman was staying the night here, the night that he won the election. So that's kind of cool. And then some mob bosses have been known to have some underground poker games and whatnot there too. And you know, when we were kids, I've had some staycations there, and this is just one of those spots where almost everybody in Kansas City's heard of the Elms or had been there at some point in their life. And it's still a thriving, really cool historic hotel to this day. So definitely something worth checking out if you decide to go explore Excelsior Springs, because it pulls a lot of traffic from all over the city. They come up there, and that's what kind of keeps this downtown area thriving too. So when you're down here on Main Street, which is right here, this is Broadway, this is where the old barber shop, and you know, all these old 100-year-old buildings, but really gonna have some nice restaurants. You've got here, I believe, yeah, Willow Springs Mercantile. This is a place that has all things Missouri. It's a wine shop. I talked to her too. They have over 270 wines, I believe, from Missouri, so it's a great place to stop and grab some of that stuff, so you can explore the taste of Missouri. And then they have a scratch kitchen in the basement that only serves lunch, and just all kinds of cool raised diners. There's the barber shop, bar and grills, coffee shops, lots of boutiques. So this is kind of a thriving little downtown area, and bigger than you would think for a town that only has 10,000 people. So parks across the street, lots of walking trails. It's kind of nice to have all this park and walking right next to the downtown area. And then over here, there's even like a skate park for the kids. We'll get on this layer too, so you can see the zoom in on the skate park. So it's pretty decent. They've got rails and jumps and kickers and tabletops and all kinds of fun stuff. So a lot going on down there. And then I guess while we have this view up, we'll just kind of zoom in on the old downtown. So you can kind of see it's super walkable, flat. The Hall of Waters Visitor Center, so you can go check that out. It's right off the strip, Main Street, and a lot of these buildings are starting to get popular and redone. Actually, when I was there, they were working on a couple of them. So it's just continuing to grow. You know, it's all been through its phases of booming and busting, booming and busting. Right now, it looks great down there, and looks like things are on the right track. So, kind of talked about getting around. I mean, if I was personally going to be living there, I would probably be going out to Excelsior to look for land to get kind of private, because really the amenities you can, you know, there's 3 grocery stores. You've got Walmart, which is one of the bigger ones, and Price Chopper, which is a good sized grocery store. And they're gonna have organic options as well. And then there's an Aldi. So you've kind of got 3 main grocery stores that you can choose from. But other than that, you know, not a lot of big box stuff. You do have an Ace hardware store, which is nice. I do like a good old fashioned hardware store, but again, you're only 10 minutes away from Liberty, which is gonna have everything you can possibly want, more shopping. And then of course you've got downtown and the plaza and all that, which is just another 20 minutes past Liberty. So 30 minutes in all to get down there. Of course there's barbecue. Every time we talk about a suburb of Kansas City, there's a barbecue spot. So this is Wabash Barbecue, super highly rated. You can see just here on Google, they've got 4.44 stars and over 2,000 reviews. So way to go, Wabash. In fact, I have several friends who claim this is their favorite #1 spot. So, you know, we talk about it all the time. Everybody in Kansas City's got their favorite barbecue spot, and you can have more than just one. You got your favorite rib spot, your favorite brisket, your favorite burn-ins. But this is definitely one worth checking out. There's also all other kinds of cool restaurants around here too. We mentioned the walking trails. There are a lot of parks. There is a golf course. This is one of the oldest golf clubs in Kansas City. So this is a really nice golf course, done really well. Close to these, we've got a hobby airport here and then another one on this side. And back when I was getting my pilot's license, I didn't get it. I got like 20 to 30 hours, I can't remember. Raising kids, it's like, well, I'd probably just better stay alive and hang out with the kids, and we'll revisit this when I'm older. But we would take off from the downtown Kansas City airport in a little Cessna and then fly up north. You know, it's just 10 or 15 minutes by plane, and do a lot of touch and goes at some of these airports up north. So they are really nice. There's, you know, just flat and close to a little town, and you know, just something if you're into aviation or flying or have it as a hobby, that might be something that would be compelling for you. Lots of little lakes, little streams. All this green stuff is parks, but really, I guess what I want to point out, there is Crystal Lake, so you can live up on that. There is a place over here, I mentioned it in my vlog, Rocky Hollow Park, where it's a cave system where they used to, went in a long time ago to go in there and mine out the minerals, and there's a lake nearby it too. But when Max and I, my business partner, were kids, somebody had told us about these caves that are closed, but there's a sinkhole in the top, so you can still get into them. So we went out one night, hiking through the forest, found these caves, went down in them with our flashlights, and it was cool to explore. It's probably dangerous as hell, and you probably shouldn't go do that, so I'm not condoning it. But anyway, we got lost down there, which is another thing that happens with caves, and then it ended up coming out. You know, the first light we saw, we were just like, let's just get out of here. And we came out in a different direction. Figured we knew where we are, walking down the road for miles. Couldn't find our car. Finally, somebody stopped. It was like midnight, and kind of gave us our bearings and made it back to the car. Anyway, great story. So if you bump into Max, ask him about it. So that's kind of Excelsior. Let's go back and look at some of these acreage properties. So the town, actually, let me back up real quick. I talked about the town being 10 square miles, but oftentimes when people are coming someplace and you still want to get in that school district and not go super rural, the Excelsior Springs number 40 school district. In this school district, you're gonna have 3 elementary schools, a middle school, and a high school. The high school class last year was right around 1,000 kids, just to kind of give you an idea of how that feels. But the school district in itself is 90 square miles, so anywhere out in here, most likely it's gonna give you that Excelsior address. You don't just have to live downtown. But when you see that I've got this pulled up, right, and you can see we've got Liberty right here and Kearney, and then we see kind of the city limits more or less for them. So this is going to be basically your Kearney border right here. So you share the border with Kearney and you share the border with Liberty. So literally, you know, having a Liberty address, the property's going to cost more, right? You can have acreage right here, and you can have acreage right here, and you're gonna pay more to live on the Liberty side. Same here with Kearney. You can have acreage right here, and you can have acreage right here, and you're gonna pay a lot more to have this just because the schools are a little better. People are flocking there for that, but schools aren't important to everybody. So that's why I say this is kind of a sleeper cell for a great value, especially for acreage property. And you still have, I mean, you got the same amenities as this guy, right? You just gotta drive across the border if you're going to Liberty. So I would definitely consider that. If acreage is your thing, you wanna build, you wanna find something that's already built, definitely keep Excelsior in mind. So let's zoom in a little bit and look at all the acreage opportunities out here. So we are just on the east side of town. It is this road, just to point that out again, flowing in through here from I-35, easy driving, right? 10 minutes from Liberty, all highways. About in here, you're gonna start hitting some stoplights. This during rush hour, getting through this downtown little wiggle, it's kind of a mess. Get used to it after a while, but from here to here, it's kind of a mess. So if you are living out east and you've got to travel down 10 highway to get there, this is going to frustrate you during rush hours, especially if you're commuting to the city. So just something to keep in mind. It's not the end of the world. It's not horrible. You could think of way worse places downtown, but if you are going out to the country to avoid all this kind of mess, this little spot will frustrate you just a little bit. But then as you're out east, go back to the map here, we do have the golf course like I mentioned. It's beautiful, one of the oldest, really nice, highly rated. Let's see what Google has. 4.6 stars and 158 reviews. Beautifully laid out, just out there in the country, God's country as they say. Parks nearby, but then look, we've got houses on acreage, big acreage. There's just lots of opportunities. There's people living right off the road. All these people are probably sitting on 3 to 5 to 20 to 50 acres. There's little pockets of subdivisions that are going to be like estate style lots. These are all older, but I think you kind of get the jive that there's just a lot of opportunity for acreage out here. Open land, treed, just have a lot of elbow room. Don't have your neighbors right on top of you. Don't have the HOA telling you what color to paint your house. Got a place to park your trailer. Yeah, that's something else with a lot of these. If you got a house right now that's on the market, new construction in the neighborhood, no HOA, it does have covenants and restrictions. And when you get inside of that neighborhood, this guy has a trailer that he uses part-time for his job, and then a big old Jeep that doesn't fit in the garage. Well, you can't park in the street in some of your subdivisions that have HOAs or covenants and restrictions. So a lot of people kind of have that stuff, kind of overflow, can't fit it all in their house. I mean, keep Excelsior in mind because you can get away from those HOAs and the CCRs and really spread out your wings, relax, and not have people telling you what you can and can't do. I'm gonna zoom out a little further, and yeah, the further you go east, we're still in the school district over here, way to the east. I mean, I don't even see a house in this whole section. So lots of opportunities. I think I'm getting my point across. And then the same with the north, very sparsely populated. Up here as well. Watkins Mill, I will point that out. I didn't realize that landed within the school district. This is an awesome state park. In fact, I travel up this way from, I'm closer to the city center, just to go hang out for a day. They've got a nice lake here that you can fish on. It's stocked, a cool little walking trail that will go all the way around the lake. Some old historical mill, and you can tour that. It was a mill that they, man, it's been a while since I've been up there. You can see all the trails. But the mill was actually built, it was a steam engine mill that was built from an old riverboat that crashed, I guess, in the Missouri River. And they transported the steam engine all the way up to here and then built this mill around it and, you know, boiled water under it and whatever. So you can tour that, just a lot of cool stuff. Great trail system. There's paved trails, there's gravel trails. You can camp there. You can put big bass boats out on there and go fishing. Just a cool spot, and I did not realize that was in the Excelsior Springs School District. So another perk. Yeah, there's the campgrounds. I've camped there before. Great spot for a day trip. Totally beautiful up there. All right, so lots of things to do. You get your food, all your food there. You've got your golf, you've got your parks, you've got your conservation areas, land opportunities. I think I've really touched on everything. We've got a couple airports, and then we are close to Kearney, We are close to Liberty and 30 minutes from downtown, and it's pretty easy as far as this part, getting to I-35, getting downtown, no sweat. Doesn't really pick up traffic till you get past Liberty. So all your big box stuff here. Another town with options here for big grocery stores. No big box stuff here though. It's kind of heading that direction, but that's Excelsior Springs. So as always, appreciate you guys watching this. If you're a giving person, you want to give us a thumbs up, a like, even a 5-star review, greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And remember, you guys have a friend in the business. We'll see you on the next one.